Welcome to the Sacramento County podcast series. I'm your host, Kim Nava. Today, I'm here with Chad Rinde, the county's Director of Finance. Chad, thanks so much for coming in today to speak about your department. Listeners may not know what it is that the county's Department of Finance does just by name alone. So we'll just start with some questions. And first of all, can you tell me, what are your main responsibilities as the Director of Finance?
Okay, well, thank you for having me, Kim. As Director of Finance, we do a number of both internal support functions for our county and a number of public serving functions that are observable to folks out in the community. Our internal functions, we do the county's accounting records, we maintain our financial reports, we do process payments and payroll to make sure all our vendors are getting paid, our public assistance is going out, and we have the county's internal audit function. So we look at making sure things are in compliance and look at areas of concern as part of that audit process. And then we also manage the county's treasury, which is maintaining our banking relationships and investing funds for both the county, school districts that keep their funds on deposit with us, and a variety of other districts. But I think folks are probably more interested to hear about the public serving functions that they see. On that front, we do tax collection for the county, collecting property taxes and tax from hotel stays called transient occupancy tax. We manage the county's utility billing process, so that's billing for things like water, sewer, garbage, drainage in the unincorporated areas of the county. We also manage the county's revenue recovery function, and that is collecting unpaid fines, fees that are referred to us. And our biggest customer there is the Superior Court that refers all of their fines and fees that aren't paid on time over to us to collect on their behalf.
Got it.
And then we also, our final, last but not least, public function is business licensing, where we review applications and issue business licenses for the unincorporated area. And then we do license inspections and maintain the local business regulations as well.
Wow, okay, that's a lot of important responsibility, but I'm guessing that probably what our listeners are most interested in, and that's something that most people can relate to, are property taxes. And so for listeners who maybe aren't familiar, could you briefly explain how those property taxes are assessed and collected?
Absolutely. So it all starts with acquiring a property or changing a property through new construction. And one of those will initiate the process either through your land document being recorded with the clerk recorder that you're the new owner, or if you pull a building permit and you improve your property, you may have to pay additional taxes. All of that information feeds into the county assessor's office. That's a separate department within the county, and their role is really valuing the property. How much is your property worth? Which sets the foundation for property taxes. After they've put together their value roll, they'll send it to our way to finance, and we'll go ahead and calculate the tax rates that'll be applied, as well as we'll enroll any additional charges that need to go on your tax bill. There's a number of different local agencies that can put what we call direct charges on your tax bill. These are for additional services that you receive in your community. It might be for things like lighting. It may be for things like flood control through the Sacramento Area Flood Agency. And then after we've calculated your tax rates and any additional charges, we'll send your bill over to the tax collection division of our office to mail that out to you. And from there, we will then work with you through the collection process.
Got it. So again, something people may know or may not know, what different payment options are available for property taxes? And technology has changed in the way residents can pay, right? I mean, it's not just necessarily writing a check anymore. We've got lots of different ways to do that.
We absolutely do. As far as ways to pay, a lot of our taxpayers still pay through their escrow account. But if you don't have an escrow account, you don't have a mortgage any longer, you can either pay in person at our downtown location at 700H. You can pay by mail. We provide courtesy envelopes to you. We have a pay over the phone option as well. And then you can pay online. And we certainly encourage you to consider paying online if you haven't in the past. It's a good way to do it. And if you pay with an electronic check, there's no fee to pay online, and you get a receipt generated immediately for you.
All right, very good. Well, what are some of the most common questions or even misconceptions that you hear from residents regarding property taxes?
I think a couple of the common questions. One is, where do your property taxes go? And I think even though you write your check out to the County of Sacramento, your taxes support a wide variety of public services in the community that depend on where you live, and you don't necessarily see that on your tax bill.
That's true.
When we distribute the taxes, the county only keeps about 16% of the taxes collected. The cities locally receive about 11%. Special districts actually receive 17%. And if you're not familiar with special districts, these are things like a fire district, a cemetery district, a park district, and things like the mosquito district as well, that provide kind of specialized services for your community. Redevelopment agencies, that are entities that improve and do economic development, still receive 7%. And the vast majority of our property taxes actually go to support the schools. 49% of our property taxes go to local education, being both K through 12 schools and community colleges.
All right. Well, that is definitely interesting. Are there any changes or developments in property tax processes or procedures that residents should be aware of?
There's a couple changes one that's happened and one that's still coming. One recent change was in 2020. There was a change called Prop 19 that voters approved, and that really affects the transfer of property when a parent or grandparent transfers property to their child. It set new regulations for that, and if that's something you're considering, highly encourage you to reach out to the assessor's office. They're the ones that help work with the property owners to manage that process. The other big change is still a coming change, and we are in the process of a modernization of our systems. We have a property tax system that is about 40 years old, and we're replacing in the upcoming year. So as we get into 2025, your property tax bills might look a little bit different, but we're really trying to be intentional with making them simpler, easier to understand, and hopefully less paper in your mailbox.
All right. Well, we like that for sure. So you alluded to this earlier, but you also oversee the county's unclaimed property process. And can you tell us about that function, including unclaimed checks, maybe that should be paid to residents, right? The county could owe residents some money and they don't know it.
Yes, and so most of our unclaimed property is actually payments that we've attempted to issue or we've tried to issue, and they haven't made it to the right place. They didn't make it to you as the end recipient of that money, or that payment for some reason wasn't cashed while that check was still valid. And so our payments out to you are valid for 6 months, and they become unclaimed 6 months after that original payment. If you're someone that has typically received payments from the county in the past, whether as a business, receiving public assistance from us, you're much more likely to be on that list of us holding your property and trying to return that to you. And the county maintains a long list of property that is unclaimed, it hasn't been claimed, and we're trying to get that back to the rightful owner. Here at the county, we publish that list once per month on our website and maintain that available to you at any time. And our goal is always to try and do the outreach, provide notices, find the last address to link you back with the property if you are the rightful owner. But we also work with our public information office to get information out to individuals on the claiming period, the claiming forms. And one of the things that's part of our process is that as a local government, if you don't claim your property within a 3-year period, you can lose the rights to that. And so what would occur in that instance is that those resources become incorporated in the county budget to provide services to everyone in the community.
Oh my goodness. All right. Well, that's very interesting. So you've given us a lot of information. So how can people who are listening, maybe they're thinking, oh, that sounds like something I'm interested in. That sounds like something I want to know more about. How can they find out more about the Department of Finance Services or be in touch with your office?
Absolutely. So the best way is to go to our website. On there, it's got links to each division with all of the different services and functions that I shared earlier at the outset of this meeting. And you can go about contacting that specific service that you're interested in. That's all available at our website at finance.saccounty.gov. And you're always welcome to email us at our general email, finance-director@saccounty.gov. And that will provide an opportunity for us to direct you to the right place if you're not sure where to reach out to or where to go. And then we've got our mainline phone number at 916-874-6744. And we're committed to get you to the right place depending on what you're looking for.
Well, we appreciate that, and I can vouch for the friendliness of your staff and the professionalism of your office. So Chad, thanks again for coming in and sharing your knowledge and your perspective with our listeners. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Kim. Appreciate being here.
And to our audience, thanks so much for joining us. We hope you enjoyed this podcast, and we hope you'll listen again as we feature different county department leaders throughout our series.
This podcast is produced by Sacramento County with production services provided by SacGov Studios.